How many times have we told you about Japan's declining birth rate? It is happening for a reason. Japan's outdated gender norms are to be blamed. And yet the country just doesn't seem to take the lesson. Be it competitive workplaces with no space for new mothers or work-life balance going for a toss. Women in Japan keep getting new reasons to not have babies. And Japan's Hiroshima prefecture has added one more thing to that list. Flyers were distributed to pregnant women in the city of Onomichi. It was titled, "Advice from Fathers to You." First things first, was this parenting advice? No. Then what was this flyer's motive? To explain, no, let me rephrase, to mansplain to mothers what new fathers like and dislike, how they want their wives to behave. Because a woman who has just delivered a baby wants to hear just that, what her husband wants or needs from her, right? A woman who has ripped her body apart to have a child is eager to please her husband, right? Wait till you hear the content of these flyers. Let me read it out for you. I'm quoting. There are differences in the way men and women feel and think. One of the reasons for this is the structural difference in the brains of men and women. It is known that men act based on theories while women act based on emotions. The important thing is to understand each other's differences and divide roles well. All right, let's break it down. If the point is to divide roles well, then why do mothers end up being the primary caretakers? Why are they expected to take care of their babies, cook, clean, and also run the house as they manage their jobs? There's more. The flyer further went on to state that husbands and new fathers like to be thanked for carrying out basic tasks. This includes doing dishes, changing diapers, and holding their child. Yes, this flyer is telling women to thank their husbands for holding their own baby. The flyer also claimed that wives may irritate their husbands if they are busy taking care of the baby and not doing chores. Because why would a new mother want to tend to an infant? Her responsibility, of course, should be to the fully grown baby, her husband. It also advised women against getting frustrated for no reason. It concluded that there are many things new mothers can do to please their husbands. This includes giving them massages, preparing their lunch every day, handling the childcare and housework, greeting them with a welcome home, and always having a smile on their face. Where do I even begin? Let me start by saying this is not an anti-men rant. I'm hoping that the new fathers watching me right now would share my anger with these Japanese authorities. Because this pamphlet has one problematic sentence after another. How did such a flyer even get a mayor's blessing? How was it distributed at large? Are household tasks still a woman's sole responsibility? Do new fathers have no active role in taking care of their child? It's 2023. And in that case, why bother having a baby at all if there's already a man-child at home? Thankfully, these flyers were met with a national outcry. Many took to Twitter to express their outrage. One wrote, "Stress is the enemy during pregnancy, so why exactly are they only attacking women?" Another said, "A letter from an experienced mom to a new dad would probably be 100 million times more helpful." But no. Why would the authorities do that? How would that align with their male-centric ideology? Japan, like many countries, has always placed unequal burden on women. These flyers just prove my point. Because the mayor of Onomichi has now apologized. Japan has once again attracted criticism for its ways. You see, it remains largely a patriarchal conservative society. The country was ranked 125 out of 146 countries in the World Economic Forum's latest Global Gender Gap Index. What does that tell you? That despite being a developed nation, its gender equality in politics is one of the lowest in the world. Some figures. Women make up only 10% of parliament seats. The number of women in the workforce has increased in recent years, but they still make up only 12.9% of senior or managerial positions. What else can we expect from such a society, where women are expected to tend not just to their baby, but also to a man-child? Something pleasant now. If you had a wish list, where would you want to live? Which is the world's most livable city? What makes a city great to live in? Well, lucky for us, the list of world's most livable cities is out. The Economist Intelligence Unit's annual Global Livability Index has rated almost 173 cities. And after the pandemic, the report has acknowledged that there is a rise in the quality of life in many cities. Take a look.
As the COVID-19 pandemic fades away, the quality of life across the world blooms. Well, that's according to the Global Livability Index by Economist Intelligence. According to the report, the overall livability has hit a 15-year high. The main reason for the rise is acknowledged to the jump in healthcare and education across Asia, West Asia and Africa. So now we have the list of the world's top 10 livable cities. From Japan's Osaka to Austria's Vienna, a lot of cities saw a massive jump from last year. But how are these cities chosen? Well, apart from the good vibe the city is giving, a lot of other factors are responsible for the final result. The overall score of 100 is determined by analysing the quality of healthcare, education, cultural scene, infrastructure. Now without much delay, let's have a look at the top 10 cities. Well, the number one position did not see much change, as Austria's Vienna retains its first position as the most livable city in the world. For the last 10 surveys, Vienna has dominated the list. The city was ranked first in 8 surveys, and the only time it didn't get the top ranking is during the COVID-19 pandemic, when most of its museums and restaurants were closed. The report stated the Austrian capital continues to excel at all factors. The Austrian capital was not the only one making records. Denmark's Copenhagen managed to get the second place for a consecutive year. The country also continues to be one of the world's happiest places to live, and this year it got a perfect score of 100 for education, infrastructure and stability. The COVID-19 pandemic was not easy for the Australian cities of Melbourne and Sydney in terms of tourist footfall. However, the restrictions allowed the cities to overthrow many European cities from 3rd and 4th positions. Melbourne in particular scored the country's highest culture and environment score. The city residents credit the success to the plethora of events and food circles, but most tourists stick with the friendly and approachable nature of the residents. Surprising results were also given by cities across the Atlantic. Three Canadian cities cracked the top 10 list, but Vancouver ranked the highest. And the reason was for its great culture and environment scores. But this year, the biggest drawback was faced by the Swiss city of Zurich, and it slipped to 6th position from last year's 3rd rank. Similarly, Geneva too slipped from 6th to 7th place. However, according to another report, both Zurich and Geneva are ranked as one of the world's most expensive cities to live and work in as a migrant. The report noted that the lift of COVID restrictions came as a significant boost for several cities in the Asia-Pacific region. And Japan's Osaka secured the 10th position in the list. Due to the high scores in its cultural and environment ratings, the affordability in Japan's 3rd most populous city also came as a huge plus from the residents. On the other hand, the report turned out to be more fruitful for New Zealand's Auckland. Auckland climbed more than 25 spots from last year. Currently, the city shares the rank with Osaka, but for the city residents, the beauty of the city's harbour and being one of the hosts of a world-class event like the FIFA Women's World Cup makes the city more livable and happier. But we also need to remember the report comes at a point when several countries are still struggling with the cost of living crisis, and the constant conflicts in Ukraine and Sudan threaten the livelihoods of several people. However, the Ukrainian capital Kyiv returned to the index, though with the rank of 165 out of 173 cities. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Low stress, little oversight and a good salary. This is what every employee must dream of. But the professional world seems to have normalized burnout and sickness. What if you had autonomy, flexibility and could prioritize your mental health at work? Yes, it's possible now. We are talking about a lazy girl job. Don't be fooled by the term. It doesn't mean that you have to be lazy at work or you have to be a girl to get a job. A lazy girl job is where you show up to work, you do the task to the best of your ability and then make space for things that bring you joy. Let me emphasize, make space for things that bring you joy. And as usual, Gen Z has taken up the mantle for this cause. Employees are now seeking more work-life balance and do not want to over-deliver at work and compromise their well-being. The new term aims to reframe what a job and should be for a worker. Experts say that a lazy girl job can look different for everyone. Each worker has their own unique circumstances and work environment. But what should be common in a lazy girl job is low stress, little oversight, a fully remote job and a good salary, of course. Like I said, it sounds like a dream. Experts say the lazy girl job trend can be a learning opportunity. The trend is not about securing one specific type of job that ticks all the boxes. The idea is about taking control of one's professional life. It aims to show employers what is and what is not working. You see, we have told you about millennials advocating for greater work-life balance, especially after the pandemic. But critics say that they are not able to achieve that balance. So will this Gen Z movement help millennials achieve their goal? The new trend is a fight against terms like presenteeism. We talked about it a few days ago, where your work is counted by the number of hours you spend in office, and employees end up overworking and draining their mental health. So this lazy girl job could simply be the wish for a good job packaged under a different name. The hashtag #LazyGirlJob has received thousands of likes online. Millions of people have hopped on to the idea of a lazy girl job. Social media users are venting about how unhappy they are with their current jobs. Many are also saying how they have adopted this lazy girl job. One of them says, and I quote, "I copy-paste the same emails, take 3 to 4 calls a day, take my extra long breaks, take more breaks, and get a nice salary." Now that seems to be a sign of a good balance in the workspace. The employee is quite happy, right? But what about the employer? Imagine if all your workers were happy doing the bare minimum. They were just living from break to break. If Gen Z makes a majority of your workforce, you're staring at a crisis. The weekend is here. What plans do you have? Will you be posting about them on social media? If yes, which platform? There's Facebook, there's Twitter, there's X, Instagram, Threads. Are you sure you'll be able to keep up with all these platforms? What about your followers, your fans? What if they miss out on your exciting content over the weekend? Forgive me for being sarcastic, but it seems that the only way for a crucial or mundane life event to be acknowledged is if it is painstakingly documented on social media. We travel, we make a wanderlust reel. We are sick, we let the entire world know through a Facebook status. We have an opinion about something, we are Twitter happy, or should I say, we're on X constantly. Twitter got rebranded, remember? Let me ask, show of hands, aren't you exhausted? No, not from the travel or the sickness or the debates and discussions. That's real life. I'm asking you if you're tired of keeping up with your own digital identity, with your own social media capital. I ask this because a story caught my eye this week. It involves Meta, the tech giant which owns Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and of course the new kid on the block, Threads. You know, all these apps which rule your day. Well, Meta executives are worried. They're brainstorming. They're trying to retain users on Meta's new platform, Threads. Remember its buzzy launch? More than 100 million people signed up, and now more than half of them have left. Threads has been left bare, and Meta is worried. Meta boss Mark Zuckerberg says the drop-off is normal. He says the company is working on adding more features to the app. A desktop version and search functionality are being developed, we are told. But let me ask you, will a better Threads app make you recommit to a new social media platform, or is this breakup for good? Have you walked out of Threads with a "it's not you, it's me" feeling? Are we headed for a social media burnout? Let me elaborate. Facebook, the one platform which started it all, has become a fake news factory. Reports say that the platform is using machine learning to combat fake news. You tell me, how effective has it been? Let's talk about Twitter. Once a paragon of free speech and paragon, such was its clout that it had been applauded for being a role model during the Arab Spring. And now, after a messy takeover, it has been rebranded X. How many of you are on X to spark change? Instagram is flooded with marketing. Every other post is a paid partnership. Whom do you trust to be authentic? Then there's TikTok, which is playing host to dangerous trends, which may just end up killing you. And now there's Threads, which is trying so hard to be different from its siblings, but in the end, it is failing to hook you in. So tonight, let me propose a thought. Maybe the problem isn't within these platforms. Maybe finally there's a gradual shift away from social media. Because we are burnt out. We are burnt out not just from our office work. We are burnt out not just from our family demands. We're also burnt out from social media. Social media fatigue has set in. Instagram was once about uploading a beautiful photograph. Now it's about maintaining a lifestyle, a fake one mostly. Curating a life which we often don't live. Twitter, or X, isn't a platform for sparking change anymore. It's a platform with users in a race to get verified, to be considered important. Hashtags have become the only way to generate revenues for some. And that's great. We're not judging anyone who makes money by being an influencer. After all, social media has empowered millions and created new revenue streams. But is this its only purpose? Remember the time when we used social media to find our first school crush or our favorite aunt who moved thousands of miles away? Remember the time when we used a platform to raise awareness, to raise money for a special cause? Sadly now, social media is a vanity project, a platform to indulge our whims and fancies, a distraction from real life, an escape. And something tells me we're sick of it. So as you head into the weekend, put that phone down and go live your real life. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.